Have you ever been in a leadership role, right, where everything is just humming along perfectly and then boom, completely out of nowhere, a massive crisis hits? Yeah, those heavy defining moments that just flip everything upside down. We call those adverse events. It's something literally every leader faces at some point, but honestly, very few know how to actually leverage them. Okay, let's dive into this.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a concept that is absolutely crucial. A real game changer for anyone looking to not just survive those tough challenges, but actually thrive because of them. We're talking about advisory boards for resilient leadership. We're going to explore the exact mechanism for turning straight-up hardship into undeniable leadership strength. So if you've ever wondered what separates a truly fragile leader from a resilient one, well, you're exactly in the right place. Let's ground ourselves in the reality of the situation for a second. Because when you're the one in charge, facing these kinds of events can feel incredibly isolating. You know the feeling, right? You're the one making the final call, and all that pressure rests squarely on your shoulders. When an adverse event strikes, maybe it's a massive market downturn or a sudden, jarring organizational shift, our gut instinct is usually to retreat. We try to just fix it all internally, quietly, and entirely alone. But there's a radically different and honestly much better approach to facing these inevitable hurdles.
And this brilliantly illustrates the central dilemma every single leader encounters. Think of it like a giant canyon. On one side, we have the adverse events, the crisis, the stress, the total disruption. And on the complete opposite side, we have our ultimate goal, growth. But there is this massive, daunting gap right in the middle staring back at us. How on earth do you actually get from that left side over to the right side? What's the bridge that connects the two? Well, the bridge to cross that gap is totally proactive. You have to seek out advisors. You can't just sit around and wait for them to magically find you or hope you just happen to stumble upon some good advice. When you're standing on the edge of adversity, looking all the way across that gap toward growth, you absolutely need a guide. You need people who can look at the whole board from a completely different angle. Because, let's be real, when you're deep in the thick of a crisis, your vision is naturally narrowed by all that stress. So, what exactly are these advisors there to help you do? Honestly, it all comes down to one specific, incredibly tactical word: debrief. That means taking the time to process and evaluate adverse events with the help of those advisors. Now, this is a really critical distinction to make. Seeking advisors isn't about just complaining or, having them fix the problem for you. Taking the time to formally process what went wrong, what actually went right, and the harsh realities of the event, that's what removes the emotion and isolates the actual lessons. It is definitely not a sign of weakness. It's literally the ultimate sign of strategic intelligence. Let's move to and see how this builds into a reliable, repeatable framework for resilience. Step 1, you experience the adverse event. Okay, that's a given. It happens to all of us. Step 2, you take that vital, proactive step to seek out advisors. Step 3, you sit down with them and thoroughly debrief the entire situation. And only then do you reach step 4, which is grow. You see, you cannot skip from step 1 straight to step 4. Growth isn't just some automatic byproduct of suffering. It's the specific byproduct of processing that event with the right counsel around you. Which brings us to the ultimate, most empowering directive for any leader out there: connect with our advisory board. By connecting with an established board, you're essentially pre-building that bridge we talked about earlier. You aren't frantically scrambling to find advisors while the house is literally on fire. Instead, you are plugging into a dedicated team that is already in place, entirely ready to help you debrief, evaluate, and ultimately evolve. We've covered the mechanics of exactly how adversity transforms into lasting leadership growth by seeking out advisors and taking the real time to debrief. So I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. Are you ready to turn your next adverse event into an opportunity for growth? Make no mistake, adverse events are coming. That is just the fundamental nature of leadership. But whether those events break you or build you depends entirely on who you have in your corner. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly, highly encourage you to ensure your advisory board is ready to go today.